Okay, I'm going to give you some feedback. I put some comments there, but I'm going to explain it. In terms of your definition, um, you might put interact with uh, and share user-generated content. Uh, yeah, usually they're connected. I was just thinking a website might follow this definition, so your examples are good here. Uh, and Um, you don't need the etc. I don't think. Uh, so that's fine to give the examples here. So I'm going to just go through each of these comments that I think. So I'm not sure it'll be clear what you're doing once you have the table up and everything. So I don't think that that's a problem. Obviously, I can't imagine what they, of course you want to know their frequency of use because that will likely influence a lot of the other answers, right? If they're not a non-frequent user, they may not their attitudes may be quite different than the frequent user. So yeah, got that. I'm just going through these one at a time. Pure fact knowledge, we're planning to keep this qualitative. It's not really qualitative because there is a scale never, rarely, sometimes, often, very often. And I don't think you want to get into these details because you have a lot of questions. And as soon as you start to put in too much cognitive effort, it becomes an issue of am I going to actually finish this? Like, when's this going to end? So I would just keep it the way it is. I'm not sure that we have. I know when you put a number on it, it makes it more specific, but I'm not sure we need that level of precision right now. You can't do everything in this survey. Let's put it that way. In terms of the scale, I think I mentioned this before. If you start, there's debate about this, so there are different positions. If you go back and forth, but negative and positive, it tends to just confuse the person doing it and slow them down. And there isn't really a bias when you're making positive comments because they can strongly disagree or strongly agree with them. So that's where you get your range. The third problem is it's very difficult to uh, interpret. So if you said, I don't learn things on social media that have helped me with school, and someone says, strongly agree, uh, so that they don't, I'm not sure. So how do you say, I strongly agree that I don't learn things. I'm not sure that's different than I learn things on social media that help me with school, and then they strongly disagree. And so typically they advise just to keep it consistent. So uh, for for your own accuracy, because then people get shifted up. They have to double think and do double negatives, and I don't. So I don't not, and so it becomes a problem. In terms of word choice, yeah, I'm fine with the alternatives. I guess things. I was wondering about things in the first place, so I think those are good choices. I learn new ways to express myself. I don't think communicate is a better option there. Um, I'm not sure why. It feels like communicate is a little bit more. We have communicate down here anyway. I learned better ways to communicate while watching how others do. I like that. That's good wording, at least my mind. I've changed my behavior based on social media sources. Um, and I think both is fine. I agree with you. You just got to be careful about how many questions you're asking. Here, I engage with educational content on social media because it's enjoyable. Um, you were worried about being read out of context. I'm not sure uh, out of context. It's okay if you're learning to bake bread. Who cares? That's educational content. Um, I guess you're thinking that they're just going to think um, you want them just learning, right? So I enjoy learning new things on social media. Um, I participate in learning experiences on social media that I find enjoyable and interesting. I think that would be obvious, right? Uh, I, I'm, but I guess it's sort of you're looking at the learning experiences. So maybe the second alternative um, is actually better here, except don't use the etc. Um you are, yeah, I guess it's the entertainment, right, part that you want to say. So when you put educational content, now I'm getting your point. So yeah, I think the second alternative is good. Uh, I search social media for specific topics or skills I want to learn. That's fine. Yeah, sure. Um, yep, the alternatives are fine here. I don't really. Um, yeah, I'm glad they like this. Split into two questions. I check who created social media land. I check who posted. I'm not sure if it matters the difference. So I would just leave it, quite frankly. Uh, um, and then you can add questions, but you really want to be careful with these questions. I seek out different viewpoints to balance the content I receive on social media. That's uh, a good question. I reflect on how my interactions on social media affect the content I'm exposed to. That might be a bit hard for them to answer. I reflect on how my interactions on social media. Um, so that's, I think, I don't know if it's reflect. You might say, I realize that my interactions on social media affect the content I'm exposed to. I'll see, but you got never, rarely, sometimes, often, very often. Um, I don't know if someone's going to reflect on that out. So I'm not sure I'm a big fan of that. I know what you're saying, but that's kind of a different question. That's a strongly. I wonder if it falls into collaborative learning, self-directed learning, entertaining, civic, um, disciplinary. I'm just looking here. Okay, yeah, I know where you're coming from, but I'm just trying to sort of sort this out. It's the kind of what I'm saying is it's not really a frequency question, right? No one's reflecting constantly on that. And then I believe what I learn on social media depends on what I click or follow. Again, that's a different kind of question, right? You're not that's not going to change, or sometimes I believe it's just kind of a fact sort of a thing. And I'm trying to see where that would fit in up here. Um, See, these are what they're doing, how students informally learn, right? And then this is what students informally learn. Um, if you were to ask those questions, those would kind of go up here, but they really wouldn't fit in this. It's just more of a strongly disagree, agree item kind of thing. And I think that's my feedback.